Hello, and welcome back to another devlog. With this devlog, I'll be smoothing out the rough edges in my scene toolbar, but I guess in this case I'm doing the opposite. Since I want the tool to blend in easily, I've taken the style from the scene views header. I remember this would be a little annoying to find back in the day, pretty much trial and error from a list of style names. But in one of Unity's updates, they've added in an IMGUI analyzer to get a peek at everything's drawing details. And man, this is way more intuitive. Another fix I got around to working on was with how selective drawing was working, where if you select one menu, it would close out the others. I made an attempt earlier on where the toolbar controller was managing which header was drawing, but it wasn't working very well with buttons, since sometimes it would make more sense to take away selection from those, like with the icon buttons. And what about the cases where a menu is nested? Eventually, I decided to just disable that approach and to tinker on with the problem later. Eventually, the answer hit me. Instead of each controller going up the chain to set themselves as a selected controller, they'll each handle them independently as an editor preference by setting their name as a string. But in the case of headers, I'll override how they'll check by also checking if any of their assigned controls are selected as well. So in a way, it'll all be working as a getter and setter. After some other small tweaks, I think I'll call it a night on dev work. It's a tough choice. Well, I'm probably not gonna finish on time, but I've got a great idea for a game loop, so I think I'll move forward with it as a small project for the next few weeks. You've gotta feed a picky plant, but the more you feed it, the hungrier it gets. But it's a carnivorous plant, so you need a lot of food so you're at a grocery store. And to boot, it can be a mind control plant too, so if it starves, you're a goner too. As for my personal goal, I want to strive for getting a prototype down that feels alright. I would love to do art again soon in my devlog, since code explanations are quite a lot more work to do compared to a model time-lapse and turnaround. It's getting a little late, so now that I've got my ideas written down and my project folders set up, I'll figure out my go-to plan when I wake up in the morning tomorrow. Going into this project, I imagine it's going to need 3 key scripts. A character controller that can handle swapping between walking as a character and walking around as a cart. A game balancer that keeps track of items in play that the plant could select as the needed food. But it should also pick food in a way that shouldn't be impossible in a time limit. And of course a UI manager to display all that information. First thing I did was I imported the new input system package, and I immediately ran into a problem. In Unity everything's looking alright, but in VS Code I've got 30 errors, all related to the input package. Now this is weird because the editor tool project has that package, and that's working out alright there. After a bit of time of unimporting and re-importing the package, I gave up in favor of making my own input manager. I really like how the new input system works though, with how it's using callbacks on input events and pre-processing inputs for access data. So I modeled my input manager as the same. Hopefully when I figure out why I'm getting these errors, I can spend like 10 minutes rerouting my input manager functions to the new input system package. Once the basics were in, I took some time to get the controller to feel good and waited before taking a break for dinner. Coming back in, I added more to the controller. You can sprint for a short time now. I like physics games where you can be slow for precise movements, but sometimes you just need to go fast to get somewhere you want to see. To balance it out a little bit, I've made it so you're a little locked in on your initial direction, and you're being controlled by a plant, so why need pain when you can just dash through a brick wall? I'm feeling a little worn out with my sleep schedule slipping later and later every day. I think now I'm going to bed around 4 or 5 a.m. Whoops. I think I'll need to get some sleep medicine soon to sort that out if this gets any worse. Well, unfortunately, I couldn't fall asleep for what felt like forever, and once I did wake up, I woke up with a headache. What a way to start the morning. Once I got started, I added in the cart's controller and the toggle for driving the cart. I'll probably tweak this later so that when you're trying to turn, you'll slightly be moving forward with the cart, instead of being able to perfectly pivot on the spot. Next, I added in the ability to hold objects. To do this, I set up a sphere trigger in front of the character that keeps track of what's coming in and out. Once the object is picked up, it removes it from the list and disables the object's collision data. And just for a bit of extra chaos, no matter what, you just throw out whatever's in your hand with a bunch of force. Just imagine throwing a watermelon into a display just to watch it explode into a dozen chunks, even though you didn't mean to. For the last thing I completed today, I managed to squeeze in the plant detection radius. So instead of lobbing the food, the plant either eats it if it's on the checklist or refuses it. And I'm not sure yet if I want the plant to be able to eat food if it's being thrown at it. Just for balancing reasons, I'll have to think on that one. Although this day started off pretty slow and crummy with the headache, I think this day wound up being really productive. Since I'm tapped out from making entirely new stuff, I've decided to go back and wrap up what I was originally planning for my weekend, getting my editor tool to a better state. I'd like to get the toolbar tool into my project quickly, but instead of dropping in the entire folder into the new project, I'd like to import it through the package manager so that the tool can have its own separate version control while I add new things from time to time. I'd like to tackle that next time, so instead I added in hierarchy favorites to the toolbar. It works just like the camera angle saver with having a hidden game object stashed away for all the information. I think this will be very useful, especially when the hierarchy balloons and I'm having to constantly find a specific component. The big thing I'll need to account for is when the user moves an object from one scene to another, or else I'd wind up with a null reference error from a hidden object that you wouldn't be able to do much with. I can't detect that move, so I'll just remove that object from the hidden game object's tracking. Aside from that, the rest of my work was finding weird state cases and jotting them down for later. I've got the scene toolbar in a great state, and I would like to upload it as a free tool. But I would feel better about it if I was sure it's not buggy and if I could upload it in a way that's compatible with the package manager. Things are looking pretty good so far, and I'm gonna try to fix my sleep schedule, but in the meantime, I'll see you later, and have a good one.